A very good afternoon, Team Zimbabwe. Maswera say, Maswera say, Maswera say. For a very long time, we have not discussed about the Sadc issue, but I think most of the issues we discussed were fulfilled. And this time around, we need to take a look onto key developments right now. President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa was in Musina where he met President Cyril Ramaphosa. More importantly, the border control, border management control, which was launched by South Africa, there was no need for President Mnangagwa to be there because the main agenda of that BMA is to stop illegal migrants which are coming from Zimbabwe and flocking into South Africa. And the best way President Mnangagwa can respond is to fix the economy back home so that he stops his own people from migrating. So that is point number one. So there was no need for him to be there, but because he wants the support of South Africa. Remember, this is the third time within 30 days, President Mnangagwa has met the South African president. So it's very important to take note and to understand what is at play. Right now, there is also another meeting. This is the 7th. There is also another meeting which is happening in Maputo or in Mozambique, where the Malawian president, the Zambian president, and the Mozambican president are reportedly meeting over a certain event. Rumors are saying that it's not because of that event they are meeting so that they discuss the issues of Zimbabwe once and for all and find a lasting solution. Because as it stands right now, there is a greater possibility that anything can happen in the nation of Zimbabwe, and that might destabilize the region. Remember that Mozambique on its own, it relies on the security, on the peace and security of Zimbabwe. Because if things goes south in Zimbabwe, it means the political tension might spill into Mozambique, or the security situation might also affect the countries like Mozambique. So, according to this, which is right here onto the screen, it says President Ramaphosa met with President Mnangagwa in Bedbridge, purportedly to inspect the border post. And that we have talked about it, that was not the whole agenda. The agenda was to talk more about the Sadc, to try to stop the Sadc Extraordinary Summit. Because if it happens, it is going to cause a lot of trouble within the ZANU-PF camp and within the quarters of Zimbabwe. So the same report says the president of Mozambique, the president of Zambia, and the president of Malawi, they are meeting today, the 11th, the 7th, in Mozambique there, where they are actually deliberating and having a discussion to deal with the situation here in Zimbabwe. So the meeting is disguised as the modernization of Nacala port in Mozambique. But the question is, why these three key heads of state? Why not everyone else? Remember, the Mozambican president was clear when he was in USA. He clearly indicated that he was going to abide by the decision of Sadc, not by or not support any member state. And that is very, very important to take note. So if you see these things happening, what it means is that there is a great possibility that these comrades, they will have to deliberate on Zimbabwe because a lot of presidents within the Sadc region, they are not happy with what is happening in Zimbabwe. They want these things to be resolved because they regard what happened in Zimbabwe as a fraud. Even Swaziland, which held elections later, it held better elections than the ones we had in Zimbabwe. Swaziland managed their elections way, 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 way better than Zimbabwe. Take a look on the size of Swaziland. take a look on the size of Zimbabwe. Swaziland did extremely well. But in Zimbabwe here, we failed to deliver ballots. We failed to do basic things which are expected in any election. The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission failed. So if you take a look on how this report has been adopted, how Sadc has defended Dr. Nevas Mumba, it shows clearly that the position of Sadc is to bring transparency, point number one. Point number two is to bring ZANU-PF to task. That is the reason why ZANU-PF is afraid. That is the reason why ZANU-PF is panicking, and they're doing all sorts of things to make sure that they try by all means to cause chaos. Nelson Chamisa is resolute and is continuously uh, maintaining his position on what needs to be done. He's talking about fresh election. Remember that he's left with only one meeting, which is in Harare, which means if he meets the people of Harare, nobody knows his next move. Nobody knows what he's going to do next. That is the reason why you are seeing that there is agitation across the board. People asking Nelson Chamisa, what are you planning? Why are you silent? Only people who are not honest will say to Chamisa, why are you silent? Because he is meeting his supporters across Zimbabwe, and he is only left with one province, which is Harare. So the question will be, if Nelson Chamisa is silent, why is he moving around talking to his own supporters? So you understand that these are people who are trying to force Nelson Chamisa to reveal his plans, to reveal what he is planning, so that they prepare in time. Right now, they do not know if he will come through Sadc, if he will come through protests, if he will come through the security structures. Nobody knows. But there is something which is happening around Nelson Chamisa, which is of importance and of interest. I will have to talk about it at a later stage. But right now, let us focus onto this issue. So there is something on Nelson Chamisa, which will, the day will bring that issue, it will be proof enough to the people of Zimbabwe that something is happening. And those in power are actually panicking because of what is happening. Right here in Zimbabwe, something is happening. And the question is, who is doing A, B, C, D on behalf of of Nelson Chamisa? Those questions are being asked. Who is doing this on behalf of Nelson Chamisa? So you understand that the situation in Zimbabwe is not good, and the leaders cannot continue to ignore and wash away this whole issue, because if they continue acting the way they are acting right now, Zimbabwe might be chaotic, might start to be chaotic. Something bad might start to happen to the people of Zimbabwe. And that is the situation as citizens we want to avoid. That is the situation we want to avoid by all means possible, because we do not need bloodshed in Zimbabwe. We do not see people dying because of politics. We want the ruling party to respect the will of people of the people, to respect the rule of law, to respect the constitution and laws. So, interestingly, Team Zimbabwe, there is a meeting which is happening in Mozambique, and that meeting follows a meeting which happened in Musina. So these are 5 Sadc presidents meeting in a space of 1 week. That signifies and that strengthens the possibilities of Sadc meeting this October. Anytime from now, we are likely going to see an extra ordinary summit being called, because remember, Zimbabwe has to respond to Sadc, because we talked about the ministers. They met. We talked about the Sadc troika heads. They met, and what is left right now is for Zimbabwe to respond to the letters, or to the letter which was sent to Harare. After they've responded, then expect an extraordinary summit for Sadc to be held anytime. So we believe that Zimbabwe is going to meet the timelines and is going to respond and send back the letter to Sadc, then allow Sadc to move with its processes and conduct that extraordinary summit. So it is what it is, Team Zimbabwe. We are likely going to see very interesting moments starting from now going forward. So we will see. This is becoming interesting. The question is, who is on the side of ZANU-PF? I believe that it's only ANC, because other presidents, like the president of Namibia, the president of Tanzania, those presidents, the president of Mozambique, they are not 100% fully behind ZANU-PF. Only government which is behind ZANU-PF is the government of Cyril Ramaphosa. But what is the position of the entire ANC and the bigger chunk of this South African government? They are not in agreement with the ZANU-PF. They are not in support of ZANU-PF. They have their own ways of thinking. If you take a look on what happened to that lady from the customs, it shows what the South Africans are thinking. Nobody can pretend to say that lady didn't know that this was the Zimbabwean president. She knew, because she was advised well in time that the presidents were coming, and when it was the presidents who and who. So she knew very well that President Cyril Ramaphosa was in the company of someone else. But in my view, she deliberately avoided to greet the Zimbabwean president, and that created a lot of chaos. Take a look on how Zimbabwe government and ZANU-PF are responding to Triple C's boycott of the opening of the parliament. That alone clearly sends a message to the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe and to the whole world about what is really happening. And ZANU-PF is so worried and so concerned. So those are very Team Zimbabwe. We continuously wait and see how Sadc is going to act. And I believe that Sadc is going to provide a stepping stone for the people of Zimbabwe to actually move ahead from the current situation at this moment in time. So we continue to watch and see what is going to happen next from now.